Welcome, guys, to podcast number 39 of Our Ketogenic Life. We're here to talk about something that a lot of people do not like to talk about.
Right.
Constipation is something that there's a lot of people who deal with this. A lot of people probably have constipation and think it's normal. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, when they're starting a ketogenic diet, are concerned about having constipation because that's just what their friends have told them.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are embarrassed to talk about it, which, like we always tell our kids, everybody poops.
Everybody poops.
And it is embarrassing to talk about, but I mean, to you hear it all the time, so it's just like a body.
Just talked about it today.
Yeah.
Probably an hour ago with a patient. Yeah. So it's something that.
And I'm okay talking about it. I mean, of course, nobody really wants to, put it out there, but it is what it is.
We're just talking between us right now.
Right, anyway. That's true.
So, what is constipation? First of all, what's an ideal bowel movement? So, having a bowel movement probably 1 to 3 times a day.
Not a week.
Right. That is normal, 1 to 3 times. Also, not straining, not having hard stools. And this is surprising too, is a little aroma to your stools. Yeah. If you're having a lot of aroma to your stools, stinky stools, that is something that can be a sign that something's not right in your GI tract. So that's what an ideal...
And you said normal, which some people might say, well, it's normal for me to have once a week or once every 2 weeks. Well, that's not normal. It may be normal what your body does, but it doesn't mean that that's healthy and what is considered normal in the medical field.
Right. So if you have constipation, you have an infrequent bowel movements. They're hard. They're difficult to pass. And the reason that we are concerned about this is because your bowel movements are the third phase of detoxification. First 2 phases happen in your liver, and the third stage is your bowel movements or urination as well too. So if you're not having that, you may be detoxing well in your liver, getting rid of the toxins, which we all have. If you drink out of a plastic bottle, if you put lotions on.
It's amazing how many toxins we take in every day, which I'm finding more and more. Yeah. That you just don't even realize.
Your soap, your shampoo, all these things. Your body has to get rid of these toxins. And if you're having weight issues and you're holding on to weight because you're doing everything else, maybe this is the problem and this needs to be cleared up. So some of the things that influence bowel movements is behaviors. There's kids who have times when they're playing and they don't want to come in, and they try to hold it and hold it, or school teachers even, if they are unable to get to a bathroom, those are just some examples of behaviors that can lead to constipation.
Yeah, or just moms in general.
Dad's not. If you're dehydrated, if you have hormone problems, things like thyroid, cortisol, excess progesterone, those things can influence your bowel movement as well. And there's things like neurotransmitters. You've probably heard of the word serotonin. That can influence your bowel movements as well. So, if you're having these symptoms and you've not even started ketogenic and that's not the problem, or if you started ketogenic and you had abnormal bowel movements before you started, it's probably not the ketogenic diet that's causing it.
Right.
So we want to kind of clear that up, and we'll go over some more stuff in just a second. But when you're starting the ketogenic diet, there are a couple things that can influence having less bowel movements. One thing is anytime you change your diet, you can have constipation.
Right. You could have diarrhea also.
Yes.
But with ketogenic, it's usually
constipation
usually.
And
but why?
Usually because of your fluids.
Okay.
If you're having less carbs, which is what ketogenic does, is when you have less carbs, you urinate more.
Okay.
So if you are not replenishing your fluids and you're urinating more, that can lead to dehydration.
Okay.
And your body
bowels. Okay. Yeah.
And your body wants to hold on to the fluids. And also when you're urinating more, you can lose electrolytes, like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Magnesium's a big one as far as having the problems with bowels, because it helps with muscle control. I just thought of something else too. So many people, when they start ketogenic diet, they don't eat as much.
Right.
And, that could be, if you're not eating as much, you could have less bowel movements because of that as well.
Yeah.
So, when you're starting ketogenic diet, there are some reasons why you can. We're going to talk about some treatments for that in just a second. But the other thing I want to talk about is some other reasons why you may have constipation, insulin resistance. And if you do have insulin resistance or even diabetes, of course, under a medical provider, especially if you have insulin, doing a ketogenic diet will help tremendously with it. And it has to do with like what we call autonomic neuropathy. That's the nerves going to your bowels. If they're messed up, they're not stimulating your bowels like you should, you can have problems. If you have thyroid problems, that can influence your bowels. If you have adrenal or cortisol problems, that can, if you have some dysfunction in that system, it can influence your bowels as well. Food sensitivity.
Yeah, like gluten, dairy. I know with me, dairy really, I can't hardly have dairy. It really makes me bloated, constipated, headaches, joint pain. And gluten for a lot of people are the same way.
So if you're having those, then you may need to modify your ketogenic plan. But that is a very big one as far as like having problems within your gut. And if you're on certain medications, if you're on pain medicines, if you take NSAIDs, which is things like ibuprofen, Advil, Celebrex, things like that, those type of medications can also cause to have constipation.
And I think a lot of times when people are used to doing, like say you just are used to eating dairy, or you take like a medication like Tylenol, and you have to do it for or something for arthritis, maybe or something. And you're just so used to. I think people are so chronically constipated that they don't even realize it. It's just they think it's normal. And they think it's normal that that's how you're supposed to feel. So I think when you start keto, sometimes some people will feel, of course, more constipated. So, and then when you don't have those electrolytes and the fluids, you're feeling a little bit more tired and run down and just kind of achy, what we call the ketogenic flu. So once you get past that little hump there, though, after a few days, you may need to, if you have just started keto and you're feeling like that and you're constipated, and you've added fluids and some of the things, we're going to give you some ideas, but maybe just taking out dairy could.
It won't hurt anything.
It won't hurt anything. I know some people are like, wait, what? Because they love cheese, and I do too, but you may just want to cut back. Anyway, I just wanted to interject that.
Well, talking about that is like in your gut, you've looked at some stuff for like certain bacteria.
Yes, because I've been trying to read. Well, we did. You had me do the gut. The stool test, and because I've had problems for years before we even did ketogenic, and it's probably a combination of things, but it was really fascinating to know, and we'll talk about probiotics and prebiotics later, but when we're talking about the gut bacteria and how important it is to have that bacteria correct, because there's all kinds of gut bacteria, but you've got two big ones are Bacteroides and Firmicutes, and if you have more Bacteroides, that's what's going to, the bacteria that kind of helps you hang on to weight. If you have the Firmicutes, more of those, that you're going to be more slimmer, and it helps you to not be as overweight. We don't understand. I don't know if they understand exactly. I don't know if it's how it eats, what's in your, I don't know. I don't know how it breaks it down, but the studies have shown there's actual transplants of people.
This is a fecal transplant.
It really a fecal transplant where I think a lot of it's family members, but like if an overweight family member is transplanted, fecal transplant from a family member that's not overweight, like that's normal weight or even underweight, slimmer, they actually lose weight from a fecal transplant.
I've seen the studies.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. It just goes to show you, we just are hitting the surface when it comes to your gut. Well, no, you say gut, your colon and your intestines. Yeah, your intestines, and how important it is for your overall health of what we eat, how we're breaking it down, how we're absorbing it. You know, because I don't know if people really understand the whole, you know, until you start thinking about it, you know, the whole, when you eat something, you know, your stomach, and then the acids, and it breaks down, it gets into your gut, and then all the bacteria, it's going, where it's absorbing, what it's
go through your cell walls.
And where it's getting into, where it breaks down. I mean, our body is just amazing. God is amazing when it comes to just even something, what we think of as gross as waste.
Right.
Because that's really what it is. It's when you're constipated, you know, it's all the stuff that you're not using that we eliminate. And so that's what you want. Right. It's just sitting there being, you know, in your body. We want to get rid of it. We want to get rid of that. So.
And remember, it's phase 3 detox.
Yes.
So, you know, there's a reason for it.
Right. Yeah. So I think people sometimes don't realize the seriousness of really being able to use the bathroom, and what you're putting into your body, and then everything you're trying to get out of it, and everything you're trying to get out of your body. So we just want to enlighten you on the importance of.
It's a very important topic.
The importance of potty.
Yes. All right, what can you do?
Yes, what can we do? If you've always been constipated, if you've just recently started keto and that is a problem, and don't be embarrassed, a lot of people have this problem, but what are some things we can do? One.
Increase your fluids. That's obvious. You need, you know, if you're peeing out more, and a lot of this we're talking about keto, but it can, you know, go to other areas as well too, people who aren't doing. But increasing your fluids, you know, that's important. If you're dehydrated, your body wants to hold on to fluids, and that's why your stools are hard. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough fluids.
Yeah, and what we usually recommend is fairly easy. Take your body weight and divide that in half, and try to get at least that many ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, try to get at least 50 ounces per day.
And what I would encourage you to do with this is for a few days, you know, measure it out.
Right.
If you're drinking
out of bottles, you're drinking a whole lot more than what you are.
Just drink, you know, just count it up and see where you're at. And if you're not getting at least half, that's a great starting point to get started as far as rehydrating.
And try not, I know it's really hard, try not to drink out of plastic
I
bottles.
know, that's really, really hard.
It really is so convenient, but if you try to get a glass bottle, get, you know, good water, fill it up, you know, drink, you know, put some lemon in it, some lemon water, lime, and, you know, just challenge yourself to drink as many of those as you can.
And the second thing you can do is electrolytes. We talked about that just a minute ago. You can increase your salt by adding salt to your food, putting in some water, drinking it. You can get some magnesium and potassium if you eat, which is number 3, enough of our green leafy vegetables. You know, make sure that you're getting those in, and you can probably get enough magnesium and potassium. Sometimes you have to take a supplement. Now, we don't give, you know, advice as far as what supplements to take, because
everybody's different. Yeah.
You know, if you're one of our clients or you're one of our patients, you know, we can help you with that. If you have questions as far as direction, what to ask your provider, we'll be more than happy to help you out.
But go to your provider and see, you know, what are you could be low in things, or it could just be just adding a little bit of salt onto your food. You know, a lot of times people aren't used to that. So, and eating more of, you know, your salads, your leafy greens, spinach, kale.
Which is number 3.
Yes, adding all those veggies, broccoli,
Celery.
cauliflower, celery, which I hate celery. What else? Cucumbers.
All those are great.
Yes, adding that, and that gets a lot of your potassium. And does it get magnesium?
It does some.
Okay,
And it also helps with fiber.
Yes,
you know, it
fiber.
helps with the fiber. You know, there's debate on how much fiber you actually need, and I don't think there's a definite answer right now, but it does help increase with your fiber.
I think, again, like everything else, everybody's different.
Right.
So how much you need, but that can definitely, you can get a lot, stay within your carbohydrate grams, within 20 total grams, you can eat a big salad with a lot of good vegetables. Really. Yes.
Number 4, increase your fats.
Your good fats.
Your good fats. We want to make sure that we're getting enough of that. It almost acts like a lubricant for your bowels and things. So it does help with your bowels to make sure that you're getting enough fats. And something that we try to do with our members is have them track it on an app called, like MyFitnessPal. There's other apps as well.
Carb Manager,
or
there's all kinds of apps.
So just make sure you're getting enough of that into your diet and it's not eating just all protein.
Right, and measure it out. And, just get you a teaspoon, tablespoon, whatever it is. Measure it out. We a lot of times will put avocado oil, olive oil as a dressing.
Right.
With some apple cider vinegar or white wine vinegar or red wine vinegar, a little bit of lemon juice, salt and pepper.
Add it on your vegetables.
Add it onto your vegetables, add it onto your salad. It's very good, and it's easy way to get your good fats. Number
5 is MCT oil. MCT oil is a medium chain triglyceride. Now, a lot of times the dosage on the bottle is a tablespoon. I wouldn't start there.
Unless you want to go to the bathroom immediately.
Start with a teaspoon. And some people don't have this problem.
MCT is basically, is it coconut oil? Is it made from?
It's one of the oils from
coconut oil.
There's other oils. And the good thing about with MCT oil is when you do a ketogenic, especially at the beginning, is it goes directly to your liver and it's metabolized through your liver and it automatically goes to ketones, so it gives you energy.
A lot of people add it to their coffee.
In the mornings.
Yeah, I don't, but I've...
But make sure you start with just a teaspoon and work your way up to the tablespoon.
And you don't have to do all 10 of these. We're just adding some ways that you can choose a few to try.
Number 6, chia.
Chia.
There's
chia.
There's chia seeds is what we're talking about here.
Does anybody even know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say
that? Little animals.
Well, it's not an animal. It was like a pottery.
Yeah,
you
it's
get
like
the chia seeds and then it grows
Christmas
out
time.
like hair or
Christmas
whatever.
time.
I've never had one of those, but I always wanted one when I was little.
And that really works well.
Chia pudding.
Helps increases.
Don't order it from off the internet as a chia pet.
Yeah.
But just
It's the seeds.
It's seeds. You can get it from Food City, Walmart.
Most places.
IGA probably has it. Your local grocery store. Get the chias, and I can always put a recipe on link if you would like to. It's basically add either some almond coconut milk, unsweetened, about a cup to about a fourth of a cup of the chia seeds, add them in and stir them really, really, really good. They're going to expand a lot. And you can make it sweet. You could put a little bit of monk fruit, stevia, something like that, your substitute sugar in it to taste. You put a little bit of cinnamon in it, a little bit of vanilla, and it makes it a little bit like a pudding. I think of it more like as almost a replacement for rice pudding. Some people think it's a replacement, they'll put it in at night, and then if you're used to eating oatmeal, which we have someone, I just thought about that, we had a client who said that their husband said that they missed their oatmeal.
Right.
So I need to call her and say this might be something. He's not going to say, "Oh, great, it tastes just like oatmeal." It's not going to taste just like oatmeal, but it could be a replacement. And there's all kinds I think we've done it before and added some unsweetened coconut to it. You can add it, make it more as an actual dessert, and do some unsweetened dark chocolate in it.
How much do you normally eat? It's in, if you're looking at us, it's a regular bowl. How much would you eat at one time?
I think if you do a cup of unsweetened almond milk to about a fourth of a cup of the chia seeds, I'm guessing a half, you would eat half of it.
Half of it?
I mean, you could eat it all, I guess. I need to look and see what the macros are on that. Usually you just do half as a serving, but I'll try to figure out the macros on that. But there's different ways of eating it, and it is something, like I said, depending on how you make it, it can be a little treat. So, and get your fiber in.
Next couple things we're going to talk about, 7 and 8. 7 is digestive enzymes. If you're not breaking down your food like it should, it's going to sit there and cause some problems. Sometimes you need digestive enzymes and pre and probiotics. Again, we're not going to make recommendations because we don't know your specific conditions, But those sometimes help, especially as you get older, especially the digestive enzymes. And it helps with the breaking down the food. And if your foods are broken down, it's easier to have bowel movements.
But I will say with the probiotics, be careful. You know, it's so hard because everybody, you know, especially the last few years, it's always been the big thing is, you know, oh, it's probiotic. Well, if you look at some of the things, some of the yogurts and things like that, there's so much sugar in it. I mean, it's basically does no good. There's not enough probiotic in it to do anything. You're taking that little bit of probiotic, but you're putting in so much sugar that you're getting that yeast back in your, you know, your gut. No.
And usually if you're buying a cheap probiotic, you're probably not getting what you need.
And there's probably possibly doing worse than what, because you're just putting a bunch of sugar.
But on the flip side though, if it's expensive, they may just be having a high price,
exactly right. You really have to look in, like you said, what would be great to do is, if you can do it, you know, ask your provider to do a stool test, a gut test. I forget
there's different. GI effects is what we use.
And so, and we can always, you know, reach out to us. We'll give you information on that. But and then see really what are the different bacterias that are in your own gut, and then feed what ones you actually need. So, in a lot of them, like you need the good live bacteria too.
And prebiotics, which is things like sauerkraut, fermented foods, that's what your probiotic will feed on. It's a prebiotic for the probiotic. So adding some those type of foods into your diet will help. Number 9 is exercise. You know, that will help stimulate. I know, like for me, exercise is important. I think it helps everything, except if you do too much. And so adding that, just a simple walk to begin with if you're not used to exercising.
Just get in your steps, moving. Just get moving.
So that will help. And finally, number 10 is, above all things, if you have this problem, or if you have a new problem and it's just not getting better, you need to make sure you see your primary care provider, and because you want to make sure you're not overlooking something that's serious, because constipation can be a symptom of other things as well too. So we want to make sure that we are not just assuming that it's just constipation, especially, you know, getting a colonoscopy to get things cleared. I'd really recommend to get that done if these symptoms persist.
Exactly.
So hopefully that's helped. Hopefully you know now what a normal bowel movement is.
1 to 3 times a day, not a week.
And some of the reasons keto can cause it. But usually your body will adjust to that.
Things you can do to overcome it.
The 10 reasons that you can do to overcome it. And if you still have problems, make sure you follow up with somebody.
All right, guys. Well, for those of you who stay to the end, I want to, something very important is coming up next week, July 30th, 2020. For those of you who don't know, or have never really kept up with this, I'm going to look at a few of the things I've got here. July 30th is, I think it's called World Against Human Trafficking Day. It's something like that. And some statistics here. Today, 2020, in July of 2020, more people are enslaved today in the world than have ever in the entire history of the world. That is amazing to me. And when we talk about enslaved, we're talking about human trafficking for sex slaves. You know, most of those are for, you know, women and children, for, you know, as enslaved to work. In Haiti, when I did some work there, we learned about Haiti. It's called Restavix, and those are modern day slaves that are going on right now today. United States is the number one source, the number one reason that there is sex slaves for today, for children.
Not just in here, but people from the United States go to
other countries or bring them, and the people are bringing them to the United States.
And if it wasn't for the United States, that demand would not be as great as it is.
There are today 30 million slaves in the world, and about 10 million are children. 10 million children. We are a wicked society. And I know that, like I said, things have went on before, but in this day and age, when you've got the internet and the easy access,
Right.
with all the games that go on, on the internet, with all the just the easy access to things, please, I beg parents, grandparents, just everybody, pray for this to end.
Right.
We can realize, and I used to always think that, well, if I would have been during the time of when the Holocaust was going on, well, if I would have been during a time when slavery was going on, I would want to abolish it. Right. I would be an abolitionist. Well, we are today letting 10 million children be sex trafficked.
You have that opportunity right now.
We have the opportunity. And first and foremost, it's being aware.
Right.
And, I don't know what all that we really can do, but I'm going to do something. Right. I mean, because the Lord will help us and hold us, if we seek Him. But another thing I wanted to say was that, of course, like I said, July 30th is Human Traffic Day. What we're going to do is try to have on social media, try to share the awareness of it. There's an organization, his name is Tim Ballard, and he is an ex-CIA, and he worked a lot just in the government with this, and then found out, I can do a lot more if I did my own private company. So he's developed a company. It's called a nonprofit. It is Operation Underground Railroad, and they go all over the world hunting down sex traffickers and human traffickers.
They actually help other countries police figure out who these people are and
arrest them and get these kids and rescue kids and women in this terrible. And it goes on, like I said, probably right before our eyes. Right. But Thursday, July 30th, wear blue, that is for children awareness, or yellow, and it's, the theme is Rise Up and Be a Voice. And so, like I said, we'll try to put more on social media just to let you know about it, but it's Operation Underground Railroad. There's also a little documentary you could go and watch that showed how he started everything. It's called Operation Toussaint. It's on Amazon Prime. We'll try to link that also, just to go and be aware. And so then that leads us to our Bible verse today, is from Proverbs 31, 8 through 10. It is, open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and the needy. We have to be the voice for the voiceless. And for those of you who know us, you know that we are very pro-life. We want abortion to end. Right. We want human trafficking to end. And we want to be that voice for the voiceless and for those who can't speak. All lives matter. And it is the babies. We have to start with realizing the babies that are in the womb, that we can be a voice for them, and that we would need to save those babies. My heart goes out to people who feel like abortion is their only choice. We are here to help you. Reach out if you know somebody who is in this situation and doesn't know what to do. Yeah, there's more options. Choose life, and we're here to pray for that too. But we want to lift that up in prayer. It's something that's really important to us.
All right, well, that's it. Hopefully this has been enlightening to you as far as constipation, and then also a lot more important things going on in the world as well.
Yes.
All right, guys, remember, be fit and be faithful.